It is Wednesday, October 21st. There are 10 days left in the month, and I still have many books on my TBR. I knew I wasn't going to get to them all, which is fine, but there's still a couple that I want to get to before the month is over. So I know if I don't get to them, I'm probably not going to get to them until next year. But, I mean, if I don't, I don't. It's not a big deal. We shall see. Last time I left off, I was in the middle of Sandman, and I did finish it. I finished it on Monday, and yeah, I'm not a fan. I'm not planning on reading the next book. There were just too many things that were absolutely frustrating. There were some things that were interesting, like some world aspects, some concepts were cool and interesting, and I liked some of the characters, but there were just so many other things that were so aggravating. There's so much dialogue in this book. There's so much. And I felt like there were scenes that were set up just so that the characters could have quippy dialogue. And that's what it was. It was all like quippy dialogue. And I know that if you don't like something, you don't have to finish it. And I get that. I don't DNF books very often. And that's mostly because I want to know how it ends. I don't care that I'm not really enjoying the ride. I want to see how this book ends. So I did. It ended, and I'm good. I don't want to read anymore. The main character was extremely aggravating. He was kind of funny at first. I liked his attitude sort of in the beginning, but after a while, he was making everyone else angry. He was just pissing so many people off, and he pissed me off too. The fact that he was just doing things without thinking at all didn't fit with who I think he should have been, or like who he was. So he is a hitman from hell. Like, he was a hitman in hell. He was a pretty good one too. Like, pretty successful at doing his thing. And I think that as a hitman, it should be in your job description to plan ahead. Like, that's what you do to have a successful hit. But he doesn't at all. I don't understand how he can be such a good hitman and then not be a good hitman. Like, I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense. But I don't have to deal with it anymore because the book is over and I'm not going to be picking up the second book. Also, over the weekend, I finished watching Lovecraft Country, which was awesome. I had watched half of it and then I finished the second half this weekend. It was enjoyable. There were things that I was about. Like, there were some aspects of the story that I really liked and wished were expanded on more. And there were other things that I was like, why are we going down this road? Why are we doing this? Why is this happening? And there was like some things about the ending that I felt like were kind of meh. But I watched a review of someone who had read the book, and they said that the book is actually organized as short stories that are like loosely connected. So that actually makes a lot more sense for how the show is set up. On Tuesday, I read Night of the Mannequins by Stephen Graham Jones, and this was amazing. I loved it. I loved it so much. It was so good and terrible and good. So this is about a killer mannequin, but there's so much more to this, and it's so small, but it's perfect. It's perfect. It's everything I wanted out of this month. This entire month I got in this book. It wasn't until about 50 pages in that things sort of clicked with this book. And I don't know if it's just because I wasn't paying attention, or I'm gullible, or I don't know. I saw the signs after. I was like, yeah, okay, I see that. And I think when I was seeing them as I was reading them, I thought, the book's not going to go in this direction. There's no way. But then it did, and it went there, and it was great. So you should definitely pick this up because it was great, like I just said. I also watched The Silence of the Lambs and Red Dragon for the first time. I had seen bits and pieces here and there, some of the scenes, like the more famous scenes I've seen before and I recognized, but I hadn't seen either of them all the way through, and it was great. Super spooky, super scary. I definitely had nightmares, and I want to watch the third movie, Hannibal. I just gotta get my hands on it. I don't know if it's on any streaming services. I'm probably gonna check out the movie store maybe tomorrow or the day after. I haven't gotten much farther in Interview with the Vampire, but I haven't really had the chance to work on like my art projects. So depending on how tomorrow goes, if I decide to work on my art project, then I will probably finish Interview with the Vampire because I have less than 2 hours left. So not a lot. It won't take me long to get through this. I did on my lunch break start A Cosmology of Monsters, and beginning is interesting, and so far I'm liking it. I haven't read very much, 14 pages, so not a lot. I don't want to judge it yet based off of how I felt about Sandman Slim, but the first line is pretty good. I started collecting my old sister Eunice's suicide notes when I was 7 years old. What a great first line. So yeah, I can't wait to see where this book goes from here. So that's where I'm at. I am gonna continue reading this book this week. I am hopefully gonna finish Interview with a Vampire, and then I also want to read that comic book that I have, The Last Temptation by Neil Gaiman. But I've been waiting to read that because I also want to listen to the album by Alice Cooper that this comic book is based off of, or was like made in conjunction with. So I kind of want to listen to the music, get in the mood, and then read the comic book. So maybe I'll do that this weekend as well. Hi, it's Friday, October 23rd, and I have read a little bit more of A Cosmology of Monsters, and I like it a lot so far. It's dragging out a little bit in the beginning because the main character is Noah, and we're still on his parents, like his mom. He's talking about his mom and his dad, and we're getting closer to like his birth, so him entering the story, but we're not there yet. And while I find like his parents really interesting characters and what's going on with them kind of creepy and spooky, and I want to know more, at the same time it still kind of feels like the story hasn't quite started yet. I'm waiting for that to happen, but so far I am really liking it. I like how it's written, and I'm looking forward to seeing what else there is. Yes, I am hoping to finish Interview with the Vampire tomorrow, probably, and then maybe read The Last Temptation comic book tonight, or maybe in the morning. So we'll see. It is Saturday, and I have finally finished Interview with the Vampire. I finished it while playing with some pastels, which I haven't done before, and that was fun, although very messy. Overall, after finishing it, I liked the book. The narration was really good. The prose was really nice. The characters were interesting, although some of them I like sort of lost interest later in the books. Like I sort of lost interest kind of in most of them towards the end. It might have been because I was listening to it instead of physically reading it. I don't know. Or maybe because just it took me so long to get through it. That could be why too, because I didn't stick with it pretty consistently like I did in the beginning of the month. That might be why. I don't know. Anyway, I had said in when I started the book that I was pretty sure I was going to continue reading the other books in the series, the Vampire Chronicles. At this point, I'm not sure. I am interested in them and they're certainly on my radar, so if I come across them, I may pick them up, but I'm not sure at this point. I didn't fall in love with the story, the book or the story or whatever. I enjoyed it. From what I understand about the Vampire Chronicles, I think, is that it follows other characters that were introduced in Interview with the Vampire. I know there's one book called The Vampire Lestat, so one of them follows Lestat, whether it's before he meets Louis or after he leaves him or Louis leaves him or whatever, or if it's like all in between, who knows. And then I think one of them follows the vampire Armand. I think one follows Armand, but I'm not 100% sure. And I don't know if I want to read a book about Lestat or Armand. I don't know if I'm interested enough in their characters right now to get their stories. So I'm not sure. What I might do is look through the books, see if there are any about characters that sound more interesting to me. I'm not sure if it's something that needs to be read in a certain order. I'm leaning towards no, but I'll have to look into it. And then I haven't read any more of Cosmology of Monsters. I did not read The Last Temptation, but I did listen to the Alice Cooper album and it was awesome. I listened to it while playing Genshin, and I love that genre of music. It reminded me of when I worked part-time and I could listen to the radio, memories, nostalgia, all that jazz. I'm looking forward to reading that soon, probably tonight before I go to bed. I think with this vlog, I'm actually gonna extend it. So instead of ending it on Sunday, I'm gonna continue it till Wednesday. So it'll be a long week because I didn't really update much this week. And then for the last part of October, it'll be a short one. So it'll just be a couple days at the end there. And then I'll sort of go over everything I read quickly at the end for like a little wrap up at the end of the month. So that's where I'm at. I'm feeling pretty good right now. Cosmology of Monsters is really interesting, so looking forward to continuing that. Yeah. Okay, I forgot that I wanted to say this. It's a spoiler, so skip over it if you do not want to know the end of Interview with the Vampire. So I was pretty upset when the reporter did what he did when he was like, turn me into a vampire, blah. It's like, weren't you listening to any of that story at all? So I had sort of the same reaction that Louis did when he did that. What he said though, that you don't understand what it's like to hear this story because you haven't been human for so long, like to hear it as a like mortal or whatever. I thought that was interesting. It made me think, and I'm probably gonna think about it more, but I was disappointed in him at the end there. I was disappointed. That's all I had to say. Hey, it is post-work Monday. I've got my comfy clothes on. I'm sitting on the yogi bowl. I'm ready to chill and read for the rest of the night. Got my books here. Got a pear if I want a snack. And I got my water. I finished The Last Temptation on Sunday, so yesterday. I read it in the morning and I liked it a lot. It reminds me a lot of Something Wicked This Way Comes by Ray Bradbury. Same idea of boy being tempted because he's afraid of growing up, because growing up is scary and who wouldn't want to, live forever. But it's not like Peter Pan. Is definitely not like that. It's a lot darker, scarier, more grim. It was enjoyable, and at the back of the book there are notes about the process of making it. Like, there's a letter from Neil Gaiman to Alice Cooper about his idea for the story and just how it came about, which is really cool, and I really like seeing that. I like seeing the process and seeing what things have changed, because there were definitely some things that changed. There was like, let's say an important character, side character, that was in the book that wasn't in the original, like the very first mock-up that he did, like little write-up that he did for Alice Cooper. So I thought that was interesting. I'm now 114 pages into Cosmology of Monsters, and it's still really good. I'm really enjoying it, and I can't wait to continue reading it. There are lots of Lovecraftian references, so I thought maybe this would be sort of a comedic horror book. I don't know, maybe because of the bright colors on the cover, but I'm not sure if it's that. I'm thinking it's a little bit less funny and more horror, and because of all the Lovecraft references, I'm thinking the ending is going to be tragic. I can't wait to see how it turns out. I also got ghost stories here in case I need a break from this. Yeah. All right, I'm going to get to that. Bye. Hi, it's Stacy. So I did record on Wednesday. However, I haven't been able to salvage that video. I've been trying to in the last couple days, but it isn't working. I'm having technical difficulties. So I'm gonna give you a little update now. It is Saturday, October 31st, last day of the month. And I have finished Cosmology of Monsters. It was great. I really, really enjoyed reading it. There were some points that dragged a bit, but it was still really good. I think that the progression of the main character, Noah, from how we see him in the beginning to what he becomes at the end of the book, is really, really interesting, and I really enjoyed it. I think he's a really unique character. This book had me thinking in the beginning that it was going to be one of those stories that makes you question who the real monster is, like makes you think like this is the monster, but then like flips it on you. It's like, no, what you thought was the monster is actually the good guy, and this other thing's the monster, or whatever, which is kind of there, and it definitely makes you question like who's the monster, who should you trust. And I think that when you read it and you find out in the end who the monster is, who you should be trusting, you're gonna be surprised, or maybe you won't be. Maybe I'm just gullible, but it was really good and I really liked it. One of my favorites from this month, definitely. And then I have read a little bit more of Japanese ghost stories. I haven't finished it. I have about 60 pages, maybe a little bit more left. I could finish it today and then say that I finished it in the month of October. I don't think that's gonna happen because I don't really like to just plow through all these stories. There are 11 stories left, by the way. I really just like to read a couple at a time. I don't think I'm gonna be finishing this book this month, which is okay. I really enjoy it. It's definitely not what I was expecting. These ghost stories are really interesting because not all of them are the ghosts of the dead. Some of them are the ghosts of the living. Like someone feels an emotion so strongly that it creates a spirit or a ghost of them that then haunts someone else. All these stories aren't necessarily spooky. They don't make you feel like you're going to be haunted by a ghost necessarily, unless you wrong someone, or like if you promised yourself to someone and then broke that promise, or lots of promises that are broken. So just don't do that and you won't be haunted by a ghost that could potentially rip someone's head off. So that is the end of the month, and I can't believe we're already here. I'm feeling pretty good about what I read. I will do a wrap up to talk about everything and put them in order of what I liked the most and what I liked the least, and talk a little bit about each book. So I'll do that in a separate video. That's it for this reading vlog. I do plan on continuing the vlogs. I might skip a week or two just to catch up with some other things, like doing the wrap up video, and there's a couple reviews that I really want to work on, so I might do that. But I do plan on continuing the vlogs maybe in December or late November. We'll see. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more, please subscribe. And if you want to be notified when I post next, hit the bell. Thanks. Have a nice day. Bye.